Hi everybody, Kelly Jordan here, and today is all about the Slender Pointer 97. It's a Lucky Craft jerkbait. It's my all-time favorite suspending jerkbait. I have the most confidence in this bait. I've caught them from coast to coast, north to south. It has a lot of things that make it great. It's got a kind of a small size. It's not really a big one. It's, almost like I guess you'd say a smaller than average size. It's got 3 hooks, helps your hookup ratio. You can cast it a long way, and it's got a great side-to-side action. Darts really well when you're jerking it, how you do a suspending jerkbait. And then when it sits there still, it sits there perfectly suspended, just like a suspending jerkbait's supposed to be. We're gonna get out on the water, and we're gonna talk about everything that makes this a great bait, how you fish it, what kind of tackle you use, what pound line, which colors you choose and why. Different conditions you look for to maximize what you can catch on this bait. And today, it's all about the Slender Pointer 97. Looking for wind. There's a couple shallow points here. This lake has a lot of grass. The grass comes out to 8 or 9 feet. There's a lot. So we need to find some bait fish. Maybe where it's pushed up in some of these little, either going to be on some of these points or, up in some of these creeks, kind of pocket kind of deals. So this little point here has some wind coming in on it. It has some nice docks. I think I'll just start right here and fish these docks on in, and we'll see if we can't get anything going. First cast. And it's a giant, but it's still first cast. One of the beauties of a jerkbait is catches all sizes. And I'm glad I had a good firm grip on that bait. These little fish can put a lot of hooks in you. First bass of the episode. That's either real good or real bad, but it's a beautiful little bass. Future monster. Oh, see you, buddy. So the conditions we have right here is it's, early afternoon, sun's still pretty high, shadows aren't very long, so they're going to be pretty tight, to anything that casts a shadow like a dock or what have you. But we have a little bit of ripple on the water. We have bright sunny conditions. There's not a cloud in the sky. Not one cloud. Well, he came and swiped it. You gonna jump? Nice. Ooh, he has buddies with him. He's a little one, he probably got it, but Slender 97 strikes again. So you see how he's hooked. He's on the side. That's one reason I love the Slender 97. It has 3 sets of treble hooks. So you have 9 hook points. And maybe they bite them on the head or on the side, or they come and they, if they have a bunch of buddies, a lot of times they'll slash at them. You'll still get them. They'll be wearing the bait over here. It's very common when the water's cold and they're biting suspending jerkbaits, but they come and, you hook them all over. That's one of the great things about the Slender Pointer 97. Has 3 treble hooks. More chances to get the ones that just come by and swipe at it. So put him back. Try to catch his mama. There was 4 or 5 following him out, so that's a good sign. Need the big ones to start biting for sure. Almost all the strikes, occur on the pause. So you let it sit there on slack line, you go to twitch it again, and it's just heavy. And it's either heavy because there's a fish, or you might have grass, or be hung up on something else. But That's usually the way the bite is. Every now and then they'll hit it on a run and just, take off and maybe jerk the rod out of your hand. But that is not the typical bite you get on a jerkbait. You go to twitch it again and it's just like you hit a brick wall. So it can surprise you, and it's pretty exciting because you never know how big they're going to be, because little bitty fish will hit these jerkbaits and great big fish bite them well too, especially when it's cold. It's a great big bass bait. There's so many colors for suspending jerkbaits, it becomes kind of hard to pick a color if you kind of aren't familiar with it, or you don't know exactly what you're supposed to have, or what kind of conditions you're dealing with. So having a lot of different colors is very good, but there are basic families of colors, if you will. The most common categories are the translucent, clear, very natural looking. This is a ghost minnow. You can see through it a little bit. Scatters light really well. It's a very, very, very natural looking color. You know, they're almost like a finesse color. They're very natural looking. They work really all around as well, but typically if you have conditions where maybe the water is just absolutely crystal clear and the fish can look at it really, you know, get a really good look at it, and maybe you have a higher pressure situation, there's been a lot of pressure on the body of water where you're fishing, or you don't have much wind, it's not the perfect jerkbait conditions, these translucent colors are fantastic. Then you have your whites, your shad colors, your more in your face white ones, just a lot more color to them. This is a chartreuse shad. This is a TO shad, I believe. They're just white. They're not see-through clear. They have a lot more substance to them. These are good all around. I mean, doesn't matter if it's low light, very sunny, whatever. It's a great standard color, but if you are faced with maybe more cloudy conditions, predominantly a white color bait, that's kind of my first choice for that. And then you have your shiny kinds, the chromes, the ones that are the best, you know, to reflect a lot of flash, especially on days when you have a lot of sunlight. This is Aurora Black. This is American shad right here. It's got scales on it. We have a herring that's the same. It has individual scales, scatters a lot of light, a lot of flash. And we have some other just basic chrome without anything special. It's a very natural looking chrome. But long story short, these are all kind of in the same family. They're not exactly the same, but they do the same thing. They make a lot of flash. And when that's what the conditions call for, which typically the best for that is sunny and a lot of wind, this is what you're looking for, something in this family. You know, there's thousands of colors, combinations you can have, just like same thing in soft plastic baits. We all know how many kind of colors there are in that. You can find them in hard baits as well. The standards are still the chromes, the solid colors, which is typically the white colors, you know, the bait fish colors, and then the translucents. That's the three basic families of colors that you have. Always experiment. It's never the wrong thing to do to try a different look or color to get more strikes while you're fishing. Yes, we moved back to a creek arm, a little more narrow, and just seeing what's going on farther at the back. The water is considerably clearer. Maybe they'll be a little more active back here than they are in the main lake. There's one. Oh, it's so cool in this bright sun. You can see him come up and get it. Sweet. When it's cold and slow, but you got the sun out, man, it is jerkbait city. That was really cool. I saw him come up and get it. That is one cool thing about fishing in the wintertime. The water gets cold enough where the algae doesn't bloom, and typically it pretty much doesn't matter what lake where you are. It's some of the clearest water of the whole year. So another thing that's great for a jerkbait. See you, buddy. Got a line around the button. That was really cool. I saw that fish come up and eat that. That was really cool. I saw the flash and everything. There's a big shade line right here coming in this dock. And that's one thing when you're throwing it. There's one. Little guy. So when you have shade lines like that, man, the bass relate to the shade lines big time. It's just like, that's a shade line from the trees on the bank. So whenever you see that, especially in this clear water, that is a big time spot for bass. They will hang out right in that shade and wait for something to run out into the sunny water and go eat it. I guess they're hiding in the shade. So let's see, there ought to be one right there. I just caught that one over there, but let's see. Come on, be a big one. I'm ready to catch a big one. Weird one. Another little one. It came right off of that shade line. Yeah, buddy. I just slowed it down. I let it sit there for a little bit longer, and he couldn't stand it. He came out and got it. That was cool. All right, where's your daddy? Nice little chunk. So I'm using a duck fishing. It's the Pro Series rod. This is one of my signature ones, actually. I'm using 10-pound fluorocarbon line, and this is a 6.5 foot medium action rod. It's got the perfect length. It's not too long, it's not too short. You know, on the jerkbait, the perfect length helps you cast it as far as you can, which a longer rod helps, but not too long to where you overwork your bait when you're jerking it. It's got a nice parabolic bend. It's a medium action, which is perfect for, you know, jerkbait, you know, treble hook bait where you don't pull the hooks out of their mouth as much as you would if you had a stiffer rod. And we're using light line. So 10 or 12 pound line, this is 10-pound line right here. So lighter line helps you get more bites, but 8-pound line is just a little bit too small for me. 10 is about as small as I go. So 10 or 12 is about, that's just what the doctor ordered for a jerkbait, pretty much. Ooh, there's one. Another little guy. Hey, they're still fun to catch though in this clear one. That's so cool. See you, buddy. So right here, several of the fish I've just caught have been pretty close to the bank. And you know, you got to cover a lot of the different, you know, when it's cold, some of them will be right up on the bank, some of them will be out maybe suspended 10 feet down over 30 feet of water. You never know. The good thing about a suspending jerkbait is it catches them in all those places. And one thing I really love about the Slender Pointer 97, it's kind of a shallower suspending jerkbait, if that makes sense. It stays in that 2 to 5 foot range pretty good. Doesn't dig down to 8 or 9 or 10 feet like some of them do. It's, like I said, it's shallower. So for most applications, especially for back of the creeks or over maybe some grass, it's the perfect jerkbait, perfect depth for a lot of fishing. And like I said, that's where you catch a whole lot of fish colder months of the year, and that's why this is my favorite suspending jerkbait. There'll be one right by that tree. Okay, cross your fingers, everybody. We're ready for a big one. Come on. There's one. A little better. I knew there was going to be one by that tree. All right. Nice. All right, a little bit better. Well, they're cold, I can feel them. This water is in the mid-50s. Feel like they've been sitting in ice water. Again, that's one thing I love about the Slender 97 too, is it's got 3 sets of treble hooks. It's got hooks everywhere, so get a little hook up on them. See you, buddy. Okay, all right. I know there's a big one in there somewhere. A suspending jerkbait is the most realistic, lifelike bait fish imitating hard bait that there pretty much is on the market. Everything about this bait is made to look and act exactly like a bait fish looks, because you fish it on the pause. Most of your strikes occur while the bait is sitting there still. It's supposed to look, have the attitude in the water of everything that looks like a bait fish that's sitting there. Maybe it's stunned or whatever. That is what it does perfectly. That's why the finish is so important, and that's where the Lucky Craft is the standard, set the standard, always has been on these finishes that are just amazing on some of these suspending jerkbaits. Well, it's getting the afternoon, the water's warmed up a little bit. Good ones are finally starting to bite. Hope they're getting turned on. It's awful cold, but finally got a pretty nice one. That's a good, solid fish. See you, buddy. All right, let's get that little afternoon flurry going. That's a good start. Okay. Oh yeah. Slender pointer 97, baby. Come on. This water is cold, cold. They still got a little energy. Come here, buddy. Yeah, nice little chunk. He got that whole thing in his mouth. Just popping it through the grass. This little evening flurry. They're chunky, even these little guys, man. They're chunks this time of year when it's cold. I hooked a big one just a little while ago and it came off, so I still got a little bit of time. Maybe I can get one of those big ones to bite, but man, love catching them on a jerkbait. So much fun. You know, you wouldn't really think a suspending jerkbait would be the best around grass. Well, when it cools off, you know, in the winter months, the grass usually dies back. So the situation we have here is it's real clumpy, and it's not all the way up to the surface. So I've got into it a little bit, but I'm coming around those clumps, and then it's going over the top of most of the grass, and that's right where those bass are sitting. And this water is, you know, 54, 55 degrees in here. It's really cool, but it's clear, and that bait just stays right in front of them a lot longer than, you know, a lot of other baits. And it is a deadly technique when it all lines up. But I guess the moral of the story is don't be scared to throw a suspended jerkbait around grass. And this is the perfect situation for this particular bait, because this Slender Pointer 97, it'll go, if you know, long cast and you work it down and jerk it, it'll go down maybe 5 or 6 feet, but typically it stays 2 to 4 pretty good, which is just about right for right in here. It's about 8 feet deep. The clumps of grass are maybe 4 feet tall, so most of them are about 4 feet from the surface. So this bait's getting right to where those fish were sitting. So, and I hooked a great big one a little while ago and it came off, so I'm still hunting one of those big ones. So how versatile is this bait, this Slender Pointer 97? Well, it's about as versatile as a bait fish. Bass are always eating bait fish. They're always gonna eat this somewhere, somehow. It doesn't matter if it's the dead of summer or the middle of winter time, doesn't matter. You can fish it anywhere there's bait fish and fish are feeding on bait fish, and you should be able to catch fish on it. So, probably one of the most versatile hard baits that there is on the market. Well, it's been a cold day today. We've caught a few fish. I hope that you've gained some confidence in the Slender Pointer 97. It's my favorite all-around suspending jerkbait that there is. It's a great bait year-round. Catch them shallow, deep, around grass, rocks, docks, cover, whatever. It's just a deadly bait, and you definitely need one in your tackle box. It's one of my favorites. I hope it will be one of yours too. We had a lot of fun filming this episode. If you have any questions or comments, please let us know, and any suggestion for some future episodes, we'd love to hear them. Please leave a comment, and thanks for watching.